Assalamu alaikum everyone, I'm Sana Zafar and you're watching Stars of NUST. NUST has around 40,000 graduates spread across the globe, breaking grounds in all corners of the world. हम आपको मिलवाते हैं इन्हीं brilliant graduates से who are making a difference in society. I am very excited as usual, a little more excited than usual actually because आज हमारे graduate जो हैं वो star NBS के star हैं. हमारे साथ हैं Hamza Amjad. Assalamu alaikum Hamza, thank you so much for joining us. So good to see you.
Wa alaikum assalam. Thank you so much for having me over, and it's a pleasure and it's a delightful experience. Trust me, like having, I don't know if we were called as stars or when we were at NUST, but now that we've graduated, it's good to hear that. And thank you so much for thinking of me, and I'm very fortunate to be sharing my learnings with you today.
Thank you very much. Hamza is most international award-winning creative director in Pakistan at the moment. We do have a long list of awards. We will go over that through while we discuss the professional journey, inshallah. And these awards, I do like to mention that these awards include the Grand Prix Award at Cannes. Hamza ne NUST se graduate kiya back in 2009 when he completed his BBA, and he completed his MBA in 2010. Right now, he is Senior Creative Director at Ogilvy Pakistan. आइए मिलते हैं. Hamza, it's very impressive, mashallah. इतने ज़्यादा आपके awards हैं, इतनी ज़्यादा आपकी achievements हैं, and I'm very curious to know more about your journey and as well as this particular industry as well. So please थोड़ा सा बताइएगा क्या हुआ.
Thank you so much for your kind words initially. I don't know if my journey is going to be inspirational for anyone, but I'll be very honest. My journey has been very raw and real. As any other graduate, any student who's about to graduate, I was absolutely clueless of what I really wanted to do. I'm a finance major in my bachelor's. I'm an HR major in my MBA. I started my career with employer branding, and I joined the telecom industry. I started working in mobiling, which is now Jazz. So back in the day, it was mobiling. I stayed in the telecom sector for about 3 years. I moved from mobiling to Zong to Waris. And somehow, you know how you say destiny happened and fate changed my career trajectory. And I somehow found myself struggling in the corporate sort of sector, trying to find my own identity, trying to find my own true calling, or what really tickles my fancy, what that niche is that I would really like to work towards. And I took a very conscious decision of moving from being the client. Usually in an advertising language, the client is the one that's supposed to outsource their creative work through an agency. And I'll tell you exactly what had happened. But once I was giving feedback. I was a junior recruiter at an organization where I was supposed to give feedback to a creative individual at the agency. And somehow I found myself struggling where I couldn't contribute because of my privilege as a client. And I found that very troubling. And I realized that maybe this is not the kind of space where I can sort of thrive in. So I took a conscious decision, and that's where I landed. That's how I landed into the advertising sector of Pakistan. Truth, I had no idea about this when I was studying. I had no idea about this industry. I was always good at marketing and always good at the courses. It's just a coincidence. But this is where I realized that, I was missing out on something that's phenomenal. It's a very tough industry to be working in. I mean, like everybody says that about their job and their industry, but it's one of the most cutthroat industries. It's one of the most competitive industries, one of the most fast-paced industries. And having worked in the telecommunications has given me an edge because, usually when you work in an FMCG, even though it's ironic where you say it's fast-moving consumer goods, telecommunications are fastest moving consumer goods because literally they evolve at the speed of light. And as a creative, I got to contribute a lot, learn a lot. Literally started from scratch. I started with account management, which is the different portfolios in advertising. So I started with account management, then I moved to strategy, and then eventually landed in the creative departments. And there is no looking back from there onwards, I guess.
MashaAllah, very interesting, very inspiring journey. And I really love the fact that how you put it out there, that how raw it was. It was not like, that's, I was born with it and, I woke up like that. Didn't happen. You actually had to give your best, whatever happened in between. I want to know more about that. Ye realization, Anna, this is not the real true calling, and you can actually try the other thing. It must have taken a lot of flexibility because in hindsight, it's probably very easy to put it in words. I wasn't really enjoying that, so I started doing it. But when you are in a profession, you're actually earning money, you have a lot of responsibilities, your personal life is going as well. At that point, because it's a huge change. It's not like just one department to another, it's a huge change. How did you manage all of that? How easy was it or how tough was it?
To be honest, you know what? I think everyone, बहुत cliched सी बात है कि if you're earning a living, it becomes all the more meaningful and sort of lovable if you really are passionate about what you do. So that's exactly and precisely what happened. I actually, you know what? मुझे तो the word creative से भी एक इख्तिलाफ है. I feel like creative is a generalization. I could say that this color black is beautiful. You would say another shade of black is beautiful. So it's all relative to debate, right? That's what creativity is. But the good thing about this particular side of the fence is that it allows you flexibility to think. It allows you to bring out the artist in you. Or usually, art is a format of catharsis anyway. So आपने देखा होगा जितने भी artist बंदे होते हैं. I'm not saying I'm an artist or I'm a writer basically. I'm a storyteller. So जहाँ पे उनको flexibility मिलेगी to express themselves, to articulate themselves, to write content, to conceive an idea. Think of it from the most bizarre angle ever, literally, So वो out of the box, जहाँ पे आपको literally आपकी नौकरी है कि आपने out of the box, and your last campaign is as bad as your first idea because you have to make sure that it's better than the last one, literally. So I think that's how it compelled me, and aista aista I started getting comfortable in it. Like I said, it's very difficult because sometimes you have this artist block, a writer's block. You don't know what to write. You don't know how to come up with a new campaign. But that, I mean, like वो कहते हैं ना कि हर इंसान में किसी न किसी चीज की फायर होती है. I mean, I'm not judging anybody. People who are good with numbers can be great accountants. People who are business graduates can be exceptional brand managers or manage different accounts, portfolios, or consultants. Whatever. Like everybody's doing good at their own, and as long as they love it, that's what makes it worthwhile, and which is what happened with me too, because clearly मुझे पता था कि ये एक industry है जहाँ पे आपको thinking ability की freedom, and of course, right, people frown upon this career at times because obviously at the end of the day हम बेच रहे हैं, right? हम साबुन बेच रहे हैं, हम टेलीकॉम कम्युनिकेशन सिम बेच रहे हैं, हम सर्फ बेच रहे हैं, हम कुछ भी बेच रहे हैं, और हम sometimes we're boasting about the products, like we know that consuming cola is not going to be healthy, but we make it feel like it's the best thing you can, or candy is going to be harmful for your children, but it makes you feel good. So we try to make this all universe with our thoughts and our ideas, and I feel like it's larger than life, and that's why I'm here and I'm sort of loving it. No other primary reason कि ये superior है या वो inferior है, nothing like that.
I totally agree, and I think I'll come more to this. हम इस पर थोड़ी सी और बात भी करेंगे कि ये किस तरह, अगर आप principles की बात करें, आप ethics की बात करें, तो how does it really happen and how it looks to the consumers at the end. But पहले मैं आपसे थोड़ा सा पूछना चाह रही थी आपकी personality के बारे में. Like you said, you had to make this change and everything. The very word creative that we can see with the long list of awards, mashallah, and you said you slightly disagree with it in principle, actually. Do you think it's just there in a person, or can it be groomed, or can it be polished with experience and with exposure?
Okay, so that's a very good question, and all my creative fellows are probably going to hate me if I answer it very honestly. I feel that it's inborn. Like you can polish it, you can be better at it, you can practice, you can, but you've got to be you. It comes from within. Like you cannot inoculate somebody and tell them, like for example, I can learn. A regression analysis, or I can learn like a modeling formula. I can learn all of that, but I cannot learn how to think out of the box all the time. I can prime my way towards it, but I can't just like, it comes from एक कहते हैं क्रिएटिव कीड़ा आपके अंदर होता है. वो कीड़ा जो है वो आप डाल नहीं सकते, वो अंदर ही होता है somehow. It just, you're born with it. Yeah, people, and I'm not saying that people who are looking to explore this career. And by the way, this is something that I wish when I was growing up studying, and of course the society that we live in, we work in conventions and with stereotypes, right? कि अच्छा डॉक्टर बनेगा, इंजीनियर बनेगा, फौजी बनेगा तो उसकी शायद ज्यादा इज्जत होगी या वो ज्यादा पैसे कमा सकता है. Or for that matter, you need to be good at a certain language to be able to excel in a career. But I'm so proud of the fact that मेरा जितना भी काम है, 90% of the work that I do is consumer facing. तो मैं उर्दू में काम लिखता हूँ. So I write in Urdu. I mean, a lot of people in a lot of professions don't even use this language, but मुझे बहुत ज़्यादा खुशी होती है कि यार मैं या मैं एक सॉब स्टोरी लिख रहा हूँ, या मैं कभी कोई गाना लिख रहा हूँ, या मैं कोई कोई स्क्रिप्ट लिख रहा हूँ, anything, but I write in my own language. After a certain point, we stopped writing or reading in Urdu beyond university level. कोई इसको इतना तरजीह नहीं देता, कोई इतनी importance नहीं देता. But just the fact that I was able to use that and use it as a creative form of expression, it was beautiful. And हम जब पढ़ाई कर रहे होते हैं, हमारे graduate fairs होते हैं, उसके तरह हमें पता होता है कि FMCG आ रही है, you've got to give an interview, you have to talk in a certain manner. That doesn't work here. I mean, and the beauty of we've got to tell people about alternate paths, alternate careers. I mean, you can still earn a living, you can still be able to provide for your family or do better in life and sort of make money by opting for careers like this. And जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको एक corporate environment में business manager बन के ही success feel हो. I mean, there are other ways to look at it.
Hamza, thank you so much. बहुत अच्छा आंसर है आपका, and I really like it. I think 2-3 comments हैं मेरे. सबसे पहले, when you talked about you are either creative or not. If you are, you can kind of polish it. And if you're not saying कि कोई absolutely creative ही नहीं होता, but not everyone can do and come and maybe enjoy the job like you do, for example. And उसमें मैं बल्कि एक example दूंगी कि that I taught at NUST for a very short period of time. And when I was teaching management students, it was for IT students. I was teaching management courses. And just like हमें आदत होती है NBS में example देने की, branding and everything. And I remember to those engineers, I gave a whole lot of, I won't name the name, but a milk brand that uses a lot of red color. So I was talking about them कि तब तो नया था 10 साल पहले, how they painted the whole city red and everything. And I was so passionate and explaining, and all of a sudden the kid asked me, "Ma'am, क्या फर्क पड़ता है दूध के डब्बे का रंग क्या है?" And I was kind of taken back. Okay, next year I'll be teaching them marketing, and that would be hard. So just saying that the very fact that somebody finds it so fascinating, oh my God, it's all red, and there are a lot of brand recall attached to it. Maybe you and I can do, but for him, an engineer who's so much into numbers and all, it was nothing special. So I can relate.
हाँ, तो जंग हो जाती है कि किसका रेड होगा और किसका कम रेड होगा और कौन से कलर. So yeah, it's but yeah, I mean, like, see, that's the thing. It's all relative, and इसी वजह से this is an industry that जिसके अंदर आपको बहुत ज़्यादा relative evaluation होती है, of course, but जो हमारा measure of success होता है, वो हमारा measure of success ये नहीं होता कि किसको अच्छा लग रहा है, किसको ज़्यादा लग रहा है. At the end of the day, every goal is attached to a certain business goal, right? So we're selling in the business of selling, right? हमें एक प्रोडक्ट मिलता है, हमें एक ब्रीफ मिलती है, at the end of the day their objectives like either you've got to build brand saliency, brand top of mind, brand consideration, or you've got to like now we work in the digital space but to ensure कि आपके downloads कितने आएंगे, आपके clicks कितने आएंगे, आपके impressions. So you can't like you're just not firing random observations out of thin air. You have to make sure that your idea needs to then be correlated to a business goal and it has to fit in with that. It can't be just मुझे पसंद है red color तो आप इस brand में red डाल दें. That's not possible.
Yeah, that's very true. And coming back to your answer, actually जहाँ आपने बात की कि हम stereotypical paths को ही follow करना चाहते हैं, डॉक्टर इंजीनियर बनना है, लॉयर बनना है, फौजी बनना है, things like that. वहाँ पे भी of course I totally agree कि जिस चीज को आप ज्यादा enjoy करते हैं, at the end if you end up making money out of that, that would really exploit you to the fullest of your potential that you would enjoy as well. And last comment about the language you said. I write in Urdu as well. I do content writing for DW, the channel, and that's so true. After coming to Germany, how they own their language, it's such a it's such a regret कि हमने अपनी लैंग्वेज को उस तरह से क्यों नहीं ओन किया जैसे ये कंट्री सारी करती हैं.
बिल्कुल, absolutely.
And when I started writing, I never wrote in Urdu earlier, and when I started writing because somebody pushed me, I realized what a beautiful language it is, and I can be probably more expressive in Urdu than I can be in any other language. So coming towards whatever you were saying about that.
Absolutely जी, बिल्कुल. और ये बात इतनी ज़्यादा ज़रूरी इसलिए क्योंकि हम जब अपनी स्कूल, कॉलेजेस, यूनिवर्सिटीज, हायर एजुकेशन के पॉइंट पे आ जाते हैं, unless we're not using this as a form of education or specializing in Urdu language, हमें ये बताया ही नहीं जाता कि like because of course all the multinationals, all the bigger organizations, their mode of communication, वो लैंग्वेज उसी में कम्युनिकेट करते हैं, वो अंग्रेजी में अपनी रिपोर्ट्स लिखते हैं, बिजनेस जार्गन होता है, वो उसमें बात करते हैं. बट like there are songwriters, there are artists, there's content being made, there's drama being written, there's films being made, like there are some writers, आपको writers की बहुत ज़्यादा ज़रूरत है. It's and you write in a language, it's beautiful. आपकी communication उस language पे होती है, आपकी communication, and it's not just Urdu, by the way. There are times when I've had to write in Punjabi. मतलब I'm not very fluent in it, but some of like their dialogues that I've written in Punjabi, there's sometimes our work is that basically copywriter use hota hai to translate our work into other languages where it's required, regional, Pashto, whatever. But mostly, our mode of communication is Urdu. मैं business presentation तो शायद अंग्रेजी में दे दूंगा, but मैंने जब consumer के पास जाना है तो मुझे English में बात नहीं करनी. Yes, and then of course when we're targeting the Gen Z, cohorts, तो हम उनको we talk in English, we talk in that khoti Urdu and Angrezi, so that's far more easier to write. There's nothing too special about it. But yeah, when you the beauty of it is like it's not just a song. किसी दिन अगर आपने कोई रमजान में हम लिखनी है, तो आपको लिखनी पड़ेगी, आपको उर्दू में लिखनी पड़ेगी. You can't just like sound all profound in English for Ramzan campaign for that matter. Or if you're writing like an emotional script for mothers or fathers, तो आपको अपनी उसी language में emote करना पड़ेगा. So it's beautiful that way, and maybe perhaps my personal suggestion to the faculty and the teachers who are teaching advertising, कि वो language पे focus ना करें, वो especially if पाकिस्तान की बात करें. Yes, mode of communication किताबें तो जो लिखी हैं हमारी लोगों की, मुझे याद है ज़माने में used to study the Philip Kotler marketing की किताब होती थी, English में है, but practical जब आप काम करते हैं, so you write in मुझे याद है when we were in university, we used to have this event where the marketing team had to organize like a fashion show, or like it would all have a theme. वो सारा sometimes it was in English, Urdu, इम्तिजाज एक मुझे नाम याद आ रहा है randomly, yeah. तो ये तो हम out of interest कर रहे होते हैं, but मुझे लगता है out of necessity we should also be teaching. Like इश्तिहार कभी भी अंग्रेजी में नहीं बन रहा unless we're out of Pakistan. Yes, we talk in a different language to a different consumer, but यहाँ पे तो हम we have, that's our primary mode of communication.
Yes, and I totally agree. I think हमने like I said, Germany आने के बाद आपको एकदम से realization होती है कि how they take own their language and how we do. at the end you actually feel embarrassed at times. They ask you, "आप हमें इतना अंग्रेजी में बात क्यों कर रहे हैं?" That's not your mother language, and then you're like, because everyone does in Pakistan, but that's not something to be proud of. हमने इसको complex बना दिया है, but खैर, it's another discussion we can go into in some other time. थोड़ा सा मैं आपके advertising industry के बारे में question करना चाहती हूँ, especially in Pakistan. At one point of time, there were some very strong preconceived notions, and I would say some negative connotation attached to this industry, especially when it comes to females working here. Because dare I say, we are misogynists and we have a opinion about everything a female is doing. If something is bad, it's harmful for female, men can do it, something like that. So that was really the thing a decade ago or so. How is it now? Do you see some equality? Do you see change in perception?
Absolutely. You know what? That's a great question. And to be honest, for the past 13 years, I can be very, very honest and upfront about this, that this is not an industry problem. This is a societal level problem with us. This issue is not something that's only prevalent in this industry. Maybe if you feel like it's a little more prominent here because people are more woke and they talk about it, but you might face this at an FMCG, you might face this at another office, at another field altogether, because ye hamari like at patriarchy is like sort of transcending down and ingrained है हमारे अंदर, तो हमें equality को बताना पड़ता है, जो कि बताने की जरूरत नहीं होनी चाहिए to begin with. So yes, there is room for improvement, not industry specific. I would say generally for us to understand that there are so many ways that we are trying to marginalize a gender which does not need to be, which is why these conversations are happening. And I'm very fortunate to be working in an organization where I would say in my field of my department, so all of our senior leadership is women. Like all the executive creative directors are women. And there was a time when I missed that time actually. I was leading a team of almost 15 people, and out of those 15 people, 13 were women. And they were opting to choose, and they want to. It's just that we need to be aware of the fact that while they are opting this profession, we need to understand and work around their limitations because they live in Pakistan as a society, right? So we need to understand that they are not complaining because उनको अगर रात को देर से घर जाना है तो वो ये उनको मसला नहीं काम करने से, उनको मसला ये कि they don't feel safe going home. So it's not about what's happening inside, it's a lot about what's happening outside. Sometimes parents are pulling their legs कि यार आप sometimes unfortunately so this is something that we need to learn as a society, and we need to learn we need to fix it in our culture. It's going to take time. The more we talk about it, the more. I'll give you an example, like बहुत important, and I feel like there's so much that we can do, and like even in my profession for that matter, I'm not just selling only here. I can, because I perform impressions, I change minds, right? So there was this time when we were writing a concept, and one of my senior leaderships, my bosses, she had thought of a concept of, and I'm not going to say exactly what we were selling, but she had shown a few women who were cutting vegetables in the kitchen, in the concept, right? So as a team, we sat with her and we said, how about nothing in the concept changes, but how about we show these women at a workplace instead of cutting vegetables in the kitchen? It will not affect the concept. We will still be selling that product. The message is going to stay. And she was very open, said, great. I mean, like, that's excellent if we can show that. So the more we show it, the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it. And that's how we resolve it, So it's my, I would personally really, really feel that the content that we're writing, the things that we're showing, there's more equality. And as times are passing, of course, that's what we're moving towards. But yeah, advertising has evolved and those preconceived notions are changing. There are people who like to opt for this as a career. We as individuals, as men, of course, need to understand that we need to make this more inclusive rather than, continue with our preconceived notions of bias, gender biases. We need to sort of unlearn a lot of stereotypes in this regard, and it's our responsibility, not theirs, to be honest.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad to see that there are people like you in any industry actually, but in this industry in particular who do see things like that. And yes, that's very right. I think it's a very long, not even a debate. It's like we're preaching to the choir if we both keep on saying the same thing. But that is so true. Again, the word equality, let's not talk about a very strong word of feminism or anything. We're just saying equality. That word sticks so many people off just like that. Because they're not even willing to understand, like you mentioned, कि अगर वो safety की वजह से रात को लेट नहीं जा सकती, just like men can. So we have to make that environment. We have to provide that first. And we have to make a conscious effort to do that. So I'm really glad that, we have people like you.
Also, I mean, like, why should a man feel so safe about staying late at work without having, without being so fearless, yaar, meri to koi responsibility nahi, I'm not going to add any value. But a minute woman steps into the office, somehow you're trying to, and her family, her office, her colleagues, her peers, her friends have primed her mind into thinking that maybe she has to manage both. It's her responsibility. You will automatically start guilt tripping them. They'll start feeling that guilt. And it's really unfair. So yeah, the more we talk about it, the more we normalize these conversations, the more we at least will be able to extend that empathy to them that it's wrong and it's something that we need to really, really fight against.
Very true, and that's what I always say whenever I get into this discussion with anyone, that पहले भी तो norms किसी तरह बने हैं ना, कभी तो हमने जाके सब कुछ normalize किया, मेरी सदियों पहले किया था, but किया था. Now when we talk about it in more detail, more often, then we can only normalize it. I think again, let's move on to the next question, because this question पे तो बहुत ज़्यादा बात हो चुकी है, very close to my heart topic. एक छोटा सा आपका comment लूँगी, then we'll come towards NBS time. आपको लगता है, और मेरी एक general observation है कि over time, the whole world has become more aware, a little more sensitive. Like we can call out, not just Pakistan specific, we can call out racism, for example, more boldly as we could maybe a decade ago. We can talk about colorism. We can talk about inclusion more. We can talk about differently able people being part of all industries and all. उसमें एक साइड नोट ये हो सकता है कि आई डोंट नो कितनी हमारी वैल्यूज इंप्रूव हुई हैं और कितना हम फेस सेविंग कर रहे हैं, बिकॉज एवरीथिंग गेट्स वायरल नाउ एंड बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रेशर ऑफ द पावर ऑफ सोशल मीडिया. But still, what is your impression overall? मुझे पाकिस्तान में lately, I won't name the brand, but a very famous cream brand actually changed their name, because after so long telling people that fair is only the right color, they realize no more colors are right. And similarly, I saw some ads on 14th August, Independence Day, where there was a lot of inclusion. We could see people, all kinds of differently abled people being part of Pakistan and everything. So that's a very positive trend. Do you see it the same way?
Yes, absolutely. See, like I was saying, you need to change the narrative. You need to start rewriting the rules. Of course, when brands are involved, so people end up saying that it's lip service. At the end of the day, you're trying to associate a sales objective to it or making money off it. But I mean, like, I totally believe that even if you're making money off it, if you're trying to change the narrative, then you're starting somewhere, right? If you're for example, when I'm casting for my communication, I don't care if yes, there are stereotypes. I'm not going to deny, like, there are stereotypes. There are clients or brands would say, "यार हमें गोरी model cast करनी है, या हमें a certain kind of individual." But वो change हो रहे हैं आहिस्ता-आहिस्ता, and वो change इसलिए हो रहे हैं because as creatives, as individuals, हम वो concepts लिख ही नहीं रहे. We're trying to ensure that in some way or the other, we are showing diversity in the content, because the more we show it, the more people will believe it. The more people will believe it, then they'll start having more conversations. So हमारी जिम्मेदारी है, as an individual, not just to sell a product, but to do it in a woke way, at least.
As a human being, actually, yes.
As a human being, yeah.
Thank you. I think we are running short of time. I will quickly take your comment on how was your time at NBS. Do you miss it? For NIMS, BBA tak kaisa tha? Do you miss any friends? Do you want to give a shout out to any friend or any teacher?
I've had the best time of my life, of course. I've made lifelong friendships. I've learned so much. I've made the most of it. I spent half of my time while NUST was at Lalkurti, and then we moved to the new campus. It was just in the beginning. That transition was also somewhat interesting. Never wanted to go back home. I remember back in the day, we used to have those, there's so much happening. It was a very small, well-lit community. As far as my teachers are concerned, I mean, there's some people that I still fondly remember. Like, and like interestingly, all the teachers who have subjects that I've never really excelled in. Like, for example, my economics में बिल्कुल मैं बहुत बुरा था. मुझे पता ही when I started my classes, I didn't credit was like I thought debit and credit means that debit and credit cards. Like this is the kind of like. So I'm Rosina Shaheen, Sir Harun Rashid, Shoaib Qureshi, marketing teachers like so these people were just not they were like mentors and they'll still be, and I obviously miss their mentorship and I wish well for them, and I'm so glad that they were there to guide us and take us through our journey. And of course, like I said, I have made lifelong friendships at NUST, and I'm grateful. I really hope we were studying there in a bit of a different environment. Today, I think after times have changed, kids are much more connected, and like हमारे पास तो phone भी नहीं होता था. So yeah, I miss the time on campus, but I'm sure it's a lot more fun now.
Definitely good times, and I think Lalkoti wale campus mein to bonding bahut zyada thi because of being a smaller campus, and just look at some person and he's your friend, she's your friend already. So everybody was very well connected. Thank you so much, Hamza. What I really enjoyed about this interview, that we talked about material things, not a lot. We actually talked about the real issues, and I'm really grateful for your input, such positive input. Thank you so much. I think we have hope for Pakistan when people like you are sitting at these certain positions, and I'm also very proud कि आपकी जब मैंने list of awards देखी थी, तो I'm very proud to say कि ये बंदा पाकिस्तान में बैठ के सब कुछ कर रहा है, because मेरे पास बाकी जितने भी lists आती हैं, there are so many high achievers from all other colleges, from all other military and engineering colleges, they are mostly abroad. तो पाकिस्तान में बैठ के इतना ज़्यादा कुछ achieve करना possible है. Thank you for making that example for us.
Thank you so much. You're very kind, and of course, I mean, like, I'm just very overwhelmed. Like I said, it's really interesting and also funny that I was not expecting to be a part of this, and you're just very kind that you invited me, and great that we could connect remotely, because otherwise, obviously, offices se jana, वापस attend करना, going back to the campus. I'd love to do that as well. But let's make the most of these remote mediums, because now things have changed, the paradigms have changed, and we can connect and share learning experiences. So looking forward to collaborate more in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Hamza, for your time. Thank you everyone for watching. Allah Hafiz.